Hello, hello, YouTube. Hope everyone's doing good. Welcome back. Local to Global, episode 31. I purposely haven't played in a little bit as I'm trying to let the YouTube videos catch up because I seem to have had a nice little surge in activity within the comments and stuff, which is nice. People telling me, they're enjoying the videos and stuff and giving me little tips and tricks. So I thought it would make sense to not be playing so far ahead as I have been recently. I've been playing a lot, enjoying it a lot, kind of getting a bit too far ahead of uploading one video a day. So I've took a little break, um, not played for a couple of days, let it catch back up, but we're good to go again. I'm excited to get back into things. We can start off. We'll do a very quick little recap, more for my own good rather than you guys, of last month, of course. Belly of the Beast, where we had our fatal four-way chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Ernest Youngman, he defends. We actually had no title changes again last month. All the matches went pretty good last month overall. It was pretty solid storyline wise. Of course, we're having the very back and forth question marks between Hangman and Papa Swole. We To Papa Soul's surprise, not only did we have Hangman enter the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship match at Beast of the Belly, but he, of course, won. He beat Mutant, so he was in the match after helping Papa Swole win his qualifier, which Papa Swole did not like. So there's a bit of tension between them both. And then we had the shock surprise of Giant Brody at the main event. He came out and essentially squashed Papa Swole while Hangman looked on, and there's a bit of maybe a question mark on a few things. One, if Giant Brody is joining Blueprint, maybe essentially replacing the injured Sasquatch. And also we have the kind of question mark looming between Hangman and Papa Swole because of course they did not help each other in the match after a stern talking to from Papa Swole. He insisted he doesn't want any help from Hangman. Hangman's been acting a little weird. He's not necessarily teaming up or supporting Blue Dragon or wanting to pursue the tag team titles, it seems, but he's not really giving any answers. And then Papa Swole insisted he doesn't need help, so Hangman sort of just watched him getting beat up by Giant Brody. So we'll see as this month goes on. But in terms of matches, Belly of the Beast, actually, of course, you can see here, we hit our first ever 80 rated match with our tag team division. LA Stars beat Young and Wasted. So that was, of course, huge. A huge way to end the month with our highest rated match. And I believe Kickoff Carnage 67 with a show rating of 72 actually ties Kickoff Carnage 50 for our best ever show rating, which is also huge. So like a monumental month in terms of breaking the records. This one is even more impressive though because we're still getting penalised on 3 out of the 4 production values because obviously we're kind of a bit behind on that with the finances. We can't essentially upgrade everything. But yeah, overall it's looking pretty good. This month we go into Captain's Clash we're working towards, which in a very sort of quick prompt description, it's essentially going to be focused around a 4 versus 4 matchup with 2 team captains. Heel and face divide, of course, so we'll find out as our 3 Kickoff Carnage shows this week go, or this month, sorry. We'll find out more about that, who the team captains are, who there's going to be enlisting in their team to help them get the bragging rights and get the win. We'll find out more as we advance through June, which of course we're still sticking to 3 Kickoff Carnage events, and then of course our annual event to end the month, which I think will work as long as we're small. When we hit medium, I think it'll have much more of a negative effect, as I know over time, running a lot of events in 1 month can have a negative effect, but I think maybe on small size, there's a bit of leeway for that, which we'll use to our advantage. We're still going through the process of all our workers who agreed to go up in size or get in better shape, sorry. We're still in the process of that happening, but I also realised through a kind person in the comments, they informed me that you can also, obviously, I knew you could ask the workers to go up in weight, they can gain weight, but I didn't realise it actually has an even bigger spillover effect on things like star quality. They go up, basically, you can go up. I've seen so far, some people in the roster have gone up maybe 2, maybe 3 star quality points, getting in better shape. But I saw a YouTube video the other day when I heard about this comment, and if they go up in weight, and obviously they're still in shape, they, oh my god, they can gain like 5, 8 points of star quality, which is like massive. So off camera, I did ask, but unfortunately, every single person said no. Mainly because they don't want it to change how they're perceived in the other companies that they work for. So I think we maybe need to wait until our workers prioritize us as their number one, and then we can ask again. So it's something we need to remember to try again at a later date. 100%. We, yeah. So as you can see, event wise, Kickoff Carnage 67, that's matching Kickoff Carnage 50. So huge month last month. Matches, that is the sole number one standing match with the LA Stars and Young and Wasted. As I keep kind of slowly raving on about our tag team division, they're more so that it's the Minnesota Awesome and obviously LA Stars. They're just they're very, very good. They're coming along really nice, which is huge. We have quite a lot of little things to go through here before we get into the shows. Of course, the journey to medium size at the minute is going to be a lot of, not necessarily trial and error, but a lot of experimenting. Um, of course, we tried the TV show. We realised it was too early, so we went back to the events. We've been messing around with our product, which is something I want to do even more. There's some changes I want to make once I figure out where it is. Right. So we, last month, for the whole month, made matches and angles scripted. Now, I don't really think it changed a whole lot. Angles are definitely much more consistent. Um, so we're going to keep angles scripted. Matches being called in the ring is something I'm not going to mess around with because, yeah, it's not really needed, I would say. Matches scripted though, we're going to turn this off. I believe before our matches weren't scripted anyway, I think. So we're going to keep it on that. I think going, even just for this month, we'll test it and see. But scripted angles we will keep, but I'll obviously turn this off for the guys who I know are very creative and can work fine without it. Like Papa Swole, Architect, Mutant would be another one, probably Dr. Funk. Well, Mutant should be, but I think he does sometimes get penalised. But yeah, we'll just have to play this one by ear. But another thing I want to change, of course, face and heel divide, loosely enforced. Everyone in our company's rated. Does it say here? It should say. Okay, it doesn't say here, but everyone essentially. I don't know if they need a gimmick, but they do get rated on it, obviously. Yeah, there we go. Workers expected to be using a gimmick, which of course we use, and we, for the most part, sort of, if we're running storylines and stuff, we try and do it face to heel. But I'm going to turn this off completely because we're still going to have faces and heels and gimmicks, obviously, and we'll still get rated on them. But the reason I'm not enforcing it is because I don't want the penalties anymore when I'm running matches with heel versus heel or face versus face. The gimmick's more just to show their like personality and the type of sort of person they are. I don't want it to dictate them being good or bad all the time, you know. So going forward, that's not necessarily going to be experimenting. We're not experimenting with this one. We're turning it off for forever. Probably it won't go back on. We'll probably see. We'll see if there's a big difference with the matches not being scripted, but it should be fine. and angles will just keep scripted, and I'll just change it manually per angle. But speaking of the matches and angles, I'm also changing our focus up now. Right now, both are on regular, which if we look, it means 70% of the main event's rating and 20% of the best match outside the main event, and then 10% of an average of the rest of the undercard. That is what essentially makes up our overall show rating. But as much as I knew this was how we were doing it, and we were focusing heavily on the main event, we're kind of getting to the point now where, especially with our tag division, I'm starting to see cracks, not cracks, but it's essentially becoming more and more common or realistic that the main event is not going to be the best rated match on the card. So after looking through these, I'm going to change it to the ensemble focus, which means 40% of the rating is main event, 40 is the best matches, and 20% of the average. Now, I don't know actually if it's 40% of the best match after the main event or matches, with obviously we have the S on the end, but we're going to try it out. We're going to see how it goes. But basically, the reason this is good is because it takes a lot of pressure off the main event. Because obviously, if the main event essentially on regular is like a dive, then your whole show is going to be a dive, and that feels a bit unfair. If something happens like an injury or a match creative finish goes bad or someone's off their game, it's like essentially really, really messing up our whole show, like to a pretty high degree. So 40 on 40, I think is good. So we're changing that match focus ensemble. We're also actually going to change the angle focus as well. So I'll show you guys how it looks right now, because of course it's on regular, which is 70% of the highest rated angle, 20% of the second highest, and then 10 of the rest. Now I have it here to change it to main, but I don't see anything here called main. What one was I was going to do? I believe we wanted to do okay. I'm trying to think what was I wanted. I have on my notes listed I was doing it to main focus angles, but I think I want to do it so we essentially, I think actually tight focus. Yeah, I think it might have been tight, which basically is kind of the opposite of what we're doing with the matches. So basically, 90% of the highest rated angle is what's being rated on, and then 10% second highest. Now, the reason this is quite good is we usually now do 3, sometimes 4 angles. So if we basically have like Architect or Pappas will hit like a 70 plus, then it doesn't matter what the rest of the angles get, and it means there's more space for me to be a bit more creative, and we have way more freedom on booking angles. Essentially, I could book 10, and it won't matter if they're all like 50 ratings, because if we have an 80 or a 90 rated angle, that's going to soak up most of the overall rating. So I think tight focus is the best one, because very, very rarely do we do 3 or 4 angles and they all dive. They all suck. It doesn't really happen, and if it does, then fair enough. But it's not going to really be a super common thing. So I think tight focus is actually the best. Highlight wouldn't really work because it's an average of all angles, 3 highest rated. But yeah, we'd probably, that wouldn't really work for us. And again, a sort of average. So tight focus, yeah, there we go. So we're doing tight focus on angles, new match focus ensemble, which is a 40% split to main event and then the best rated match. We're no longer enforcing our face and heel divide, which basically we're only doing that so we don't get the penalties. And for this month, we're going to try just unscripted matches, which I believe it was already on before we started this little trial and error experiment. The other thing I need merchandise wise, we're actually looking pretty good. We're almost at half, going up to level 6, which is good. Tiger Jr. surprisingly brought us in a lot of money. I don't really get how he's so high on the merchandise sales. He doesn't have anything in his attributes that would say otherwise. Um, I always find that the merchandise sales to be very not random, but it's just never who you would expect. Anyway, yeah, that's coming along nicely. Still on rapid. Money wise, which we obviously haven't went over, we made 58 grand in April, which was our first full month with our alliance. This month, we made 32. So this is probably not going to be consistent going forward for the foreseeable, but we should definitely always be making money on it. Our production jumped up by 10 because, of course, we upgraded. I think it was the music to match, which was 10,000 a month, which is wild. We will need to keep an eye on this, but I'm not really going to be complaining, even though it's such a big change for the worse. I am in no position to moan because before that, the most we ever made was like 8,000 in one month. So this is this is massive. I am though, however, it would be very realistic and worthwhile and smart to save all this money so that I can potentially start looking at maybe opening up our own broadcaster. But this more than enough covers workers right now, especially if I use most of them on every single show, running 4 shows a month. So I think it only makes sense to try and help sort of even out our penalties for our show ratings because, as you can see from even just last month, matching the best ever show, we're still like our shows are being held back big time by these production penalties. So we're going to have a little look at it again because we're definitely making enough money to at least fix one more, maybe even two. Even if it means we're not making a lot of money per month, it would honestly in the long run it's going to be worth it. Now the only two I actually can do here, so it was live event experience we did, and it looks like broadcast quality and production are the only two that's one level off because as you can see music with minor license I would need to go up to, and I can only imagine the cost on that. So let's see production. If we go up, it would involve a fee, which we don't care about the fee, but it would be an extra 7,500 a month and 1,500 per show. So essentially, it would be roughly like 13 and a half, maybe just a little more. I don't know if it maybe takes more out. So we'll just say, yeah, we'll say it's about 13 and a half. Yeah. And we're not counting the fee. So to upgrade production, 13,500 more, which of course we can afford. We just made like $30,000. So 13 and a half, or we do broadcast, which would involve a 10,000 fee, but then the cost afterwards would be 7.5. Honestly, I think we can do two. Um, give or take, if we upgrade this now and upgrade the other one, the monthly cost is going to increase by about 20,000. But obviously, we need to take this into effect, but I'm not really caring about that. I honestly think we do it. I think I'm going to. We're going to try it this month. We should honestly still be making money. It won't be as much. We'll probably make maybe about 10,000. But I think in the long run, this will be good because I'm pretty sure, even though I don't know, I'm guessing. But in this quest of going up in size, by the time we get really, really close to hitting medium in size, I honestly think our attendance per shows, for example, will have doubled, maybe even tripled by then. So our ticket sales will be like huge, huge numbers compared to what they are now. And at the minute, with the shows we're putting on, keeping in mind again, we're penalised, we're starting to go up pretty quick. We went up 2 points from March to April and then 2 points again May to June. So we got to make sure we're sticking to that because essentially to be guaranteed, in case you don't know, to be guaranteed to go up in popularity, your show rating needs to be at least minimum 6 points higher than the pop in the place you're running the show. So at the minute with 43, we pretty much need to be guaranteeing that we're hitting at least 50. We want to be hitting way higher than 50, probably closer to 60. But as rule of thumb, at the minute, we need to be hitting 50-ish. And when you're looking at our shows with our penalties, we're hitting on average maybe low 60s, 61, 64, 63, yeah, so low to mid 60s. So if we can mitigate some of these penalties we're getting through the production, which let me just double check that worked. It should have, yep. So now we only have one, which is music. This should help really reach our potentials we're getting right now, which would be really nice. The only other thing really to mention, but not really, is the jobber screen. A little spreadsheet I made, which I'm not actually going to really be focusing on this. I'm just going to tell you guys about it since I just made it. This is essentially the workers we have that is a combination of the lowest popularity with in-ring performance. So if in theory we hit medium size and then started being way more strict on firing or like releasing guys, these are essentially the guys at the bottom of the barrel who would be in the firing line. The plan was essentially to keep a close eye on their in-ring performances and note them down, because right now we're on course to hitting medium in maybe about a year, but at the same time I don't want to track every single one of their in-ring performances for the next year and then see how much they've improved or how much their pop, which by the way is what the number is in brackets, this is their popularity in the Great Lakes. I don't really want to track it, not to this extent, for guys that we don't necessarily care about. The ones highlighted in green are essentially the ones who are very green, inexperienced. They're also very young, under like maybe 25, 24. So they're sort of exceptions. The ones in black would be the ones who we would look at getting rid of first, which is a bit of a shame because none of them are actually bad. None of them are bad workers. They just obviously have no momentum. They're essentially the ones getting jobbed out every show. We are going to try use them a bit more though, because one thing I'm realizing when I'm going through my roster and tracking progress is my workers aren't really developing very quick. And I feel like on the last version, the last TEW, your workers they progress really fast, but it's not really happening. And at first I thought maybe it was because I only do 4 wrestling events a month and not everyone is on them. But roughly about 90% of my roster also work elsewhere, so I can't really use that excuse. But creative wise, nothing really's changed. Tiger's still in there at 4th. He's as you can see, he has major issues. He's not happy. He's essentially not been happy about losing to anyone. He is only 1 appearance left on his contract though, which we'll be using ASAP. So he goes. Jimmy Jabalat is still in there. Next big thing, of course, nothing changes there. And all of these should pretty much be the same. But going forward, though, I'm quite happy with these changes, especially our match focus and our angle focus. The angle focus will be huge because if we, for example, pull off like an 80 rated segment with Architect or Papaswole or whatever, then we can give time to guys like Tommy Cornell Jr., who hasn't had much mic time, do something a bit different, a bit drastic, and even if it pulls in like a 30, 40 rating, we don't need to worry too much about it. So we're putting it to the test. There's not too much more to go over. We do have a little graphic here for our crowning glory. Now that prestige went straight up to 53. Our prestige on Great Lakes and Tag Team Champion are both 43. World Heavyweight 52. Things are looking pretty good, We're making money. The alliance is helping a lot. Although one thing I will say, as much as we are nowhere near close to doing it, with the alliance being worldwide, one company I would love to have in the alliance going forward is Raw from Australia. I've never ever in any of the TEW games worked with any of the Australian companies or made one in Australia, but because their style of wrestling is so proper, they have so many wrestlers who are so good entertainment wise. Their roster has so many, like Will. He's only 26 years old. This guy is a beast. So if we can somehow down the line get this company into our alliance and do trading deals to bring some of the guys to our company, I believe they instantly then become available to work in America. And then obviously after then we would go into contract wars or contract war negotiations with Raw to try and poach some of these guys off of them. Because the likes of Will would be huge. Even if it took us 2, 3, maybe even 4 years to actually get him, he still wouldn't be that old. And look at this, look at his stat, a 94 star quality, 95 charisma, a marketing dream. They have more, by the way. He's just like, he's not the only one. They have a lot. Their roster's like huge. And so many of these guys I'm familiar with in terms of I know of them, heard of them, seen their stats before in maybe the old games, but I've never used any of them. Like Suburban Legend, I'm sure he's signed. Yeah, he's another one. Great charisma, microphones. Like, yeah. So that's maybe one for the future. It's definitely on the bucket list for the overall, sort of the overall scope of the series is getting Raw in the alliance would be like wow, massive, absolutely massive. But yeah, things are looking good. Our pop is rising quick. Our money is we're finally at the red, which I mean is the main thing. But I think that's pretty much all we wanted to go over. Is we'll do this going forward. I saw a nice longer recap at the start of the month, going over the month before and what the immediate plans are essentially. I don't really know if we'll mess around too much more with the product now we've made these changes. I kind of like how it's looking unless something drastic happens this month and I realise I've maybe made a mistake. Then we'll change it, but apart from that, I think we'll be leaving this as is. I would say, go over maybe some of the pop of our workers, but there's not much really to mention when I was looking over it. I did moan a couple episodes ago about how we seem to be capped at 52 popularity, but ever since then, we've had Architect go up to 53, and our World Heavyweight Champ Ernest also went up to 53. But everyone else seems to be very much stuck on 52. Hangman's up there now too, he's on 48. I can't think of too much LA stars who are absolutely crushing it, putting in the work. These guys are up to 40, 39. Yeah, everything's looking real nice here. Not really too much more to say on this, but yeah, we'll cut it here. I've been yapping for far too long and we have all our shows still to go over for the month. Um, so let's get into that. I'll be back in 3 days with Kickoff Carnage 6 to 8. I actually forgot to mention before, but recently I've been messing around with my microphone to try and get it to sound a bit more clearer, less background noise, picking up my voice a lot better, a lot more smooth, raising the volume, a bunch of stuff basically. I added a lot of filters on it, so you'll have to let me know in the comments if it sounds worse or better, because essentially it's you guys listening to me the whole time, so I can't really tell if that makes sense, you know. But let me know, and if I don't hear anything, I'll just assume it's good going on to go forward. But here we go. Kickoff Carnage 6 to 8. Solid attendance 1100. We might even hit 1200 if we're lucky. We got broadcaster. I don't want to lie, I kinda want to make a new broadcaster. Well, make a broadcaster. Um, Obviously it'll be internet based. I want to do a free to air in America only to begin with a slightly higher coverage than very small. So at least then we're better than what we're getting on WrestleWorld. But I think if we go to small, it's going to cost like $1 million. So it's probably, in terms of big investments, that's definitely, I think, what we're looking to do. Right, stored ideas we definitely need. We have a lot of gimmick ideas here, but a lot of them run out real soon. What the hell is this? Bit of a gamble. Okay, we need a creative finish. Creative finish. We need a bunch, actually. Safe bet, perfect, good start. One more. A near certainty with Hangman, okay. One more. And I'll try to get a new gimmick. Likely, that's fine. Or do we go character? Can we do both? Yes, we can. One of one. A bit of a gamble, that's not amazing, okay. Character, a big gamble, no. Right, that's fine. Locker room incidents. Freddie and Nate DeMarcus have been spending a lot of time together. Okay, good. Oh, is that us? Apparently, Jules Knight and no Taylor Norton. Okay, had an argument. That's not great. Oh god, our ref and Remy also butted heads. Okay, well that wasn't good. I thought we're getting the student dialogue about architect training. Usually that comes last, so I thought that was going to be it. But obviously, straight afterwards we get two negative ones, so that's amazing. I love that for us. Anyway, it's time to get into this. We're ready to rumble here. First show of the month. Alright, we're starting off big. Not only big angle, but we have about 6 angles on this card, which is by far the most I've ever done for one show. We'll see how it goes, but we're starting off good, especially when you take into effect our new angle focus. So the fact we get a 73 is massive. It's a bit of a overload of information to start the show. But essentially, we have the boss, Craig Prince. He announces that there's no number one contender match, he's decided, for the next World Heavyweight Championship title because he's been so impressed with the work that Davis Wayne Newton has been putting in. That he's already earned it. So it's going to actually be him up at Captain Clash, Davis Wayne Newton and Texas Hangman for the World Heavyweight Championship title, which is huge. He also announces, of course, the Captain's Clash. The past masters will be defending their belt against the winners of tonight's number one contender match, which is the LA Stars, who are on hot streak. And after some talks with Blue Dragon, he's decided that the ex-champs, the first ever champs, are going to get a chance again to prove themselves. And they will be going up against LA Stars, Hangman and Blue Dragon. And then as he's about to announce more about Captain's Clash, the Architect comes out. And he starts going over the last month. And he's sort of blabbing on, and then he gets cut off by the boss, who basically tells him, you know, it's a good thing you came down, Architect, because you're actually team captain. You will be team Architect will be one team. So it's up to you to get 4 people, well, 3 people, to join your team. And then just as Architect announces, well, no one is going to be standing a chance against the Blueprint, me, the tag champs, and Giant Brody. But he's quickly cut off. Craig Prince basically lets him know, unfortunately, you cannot have the past masters in your team. They will be unavailable. They will be defending their titles at Captain's Clash, so they are off limits. So it's you, Giant Brody, and you'll need to find 2 people that want to fight on your team. And he looks almost shocked and offended. And then he says, you know what, just tell me, who am I against? You know, what like idiot in the back was stupid enough to be matched up against me? Which this starts us off great here. And then the music hits. It's Papa fucking Swole. The rivalry, even if it's just for this month, at the minute it's back. Probably our 2 pioneers of the company. So it was only right for the very first ever Captain's Clash that Team Architect go up against Team Swole. Papa comes down, gets a huge boost to 89 rated segment. The fans go crazy. And Papa and Architect essentially just locking eyes in the ring. It's already, of course, announced that Giant Brody is on Blueprint and he is joining Team Architect. And Papa Swole, on the other hand, he obviously has no one in his team, so we'll have to see who he ends up recruiting. Huge start though. I think we have 6 segments, and in fact we just got a green and a blue, massive. But as for the matches, let's get into that. The crowd will be nice and warmed up now. We have a bit of a rare win and debut as well. It's Hot Property, who beat Jack Holder, who's debuting, and Stevie Stanley. Now I put this match together because I might potentially team up Jack and Stevie, even though we definitely don't need any more tag teams. But Jack's someone I've had my eye on for a while. He's very green as well and very young, but he's someone that could potentially develop a lot. And he has very good like star quality and stuff, and easily marketable. He's got a lot of upside. I've been meaning to bring him in, so I thought I would team him up with Stanley. You know, the baby face, happy face boys. They of course perish, you could say, today. Hot Property get the rare win here. Very good rating on his All American Boy gimmick though, so he'll be another one probably added to the shortlist. Even though he's new, we'll no doubt add him in. He's got like no pop, very unknown. He's not employed anywhere else. He's not had much experience since the save began back in 2022. So hopefully we can potentially do something with him, craft him into a solid regular here at PWW. We'll see. Stevie pulls in the best rating, 46. It's a good momentum win for Hot Property. Angle changes, we got nothing apart from his very good rating. 46 to start us off on the shows. Good stuff, good win. Then we move into Triple Threat. Same situation. More of the jobbers, essentially. We get the Doc. He gets the win. I'm trying to boost the Doc up. I like him a lot. He has a lot of upside. So we're trying to get some nice wins under his belt. As we also see him contributing with Zippy every now and then. I feel like recently we've seen him in way more angles with his show. We want the funk and everything else going on. But we need to try and get his in-ring up. 44, he maxes out here. Winning the Triple Threat match. 47 rated match. Then we got Tommy Cornell Jr. He comes out before his match. He cuts a promo. 61 rating, pretty good. He's essentially just getting himself over, you know. He's happy to be here in America. He knows he's got a lot to learn. If he wants to live up and follow in his dad's footsteps, he's got a lot to prove. And he's just going to try to do that every opportunity he gets to fight, any opportunity he gets to join in on anything. You know he's going to take it and going to grab it with both hands, and that's essentially where he's at. Take all his opportunities, and you know he's here to take over and become a world champion one day. And he backs it up. Pretty decent match too against Josh Jacobs. He gets the win by submission with a guilt trip. 57 rating. Pulls in a 52. Not much more to say here. Good momentum. Yeah, that was a pretty good segment too, actually, from him. Good stuff from the young man himself. Then we actually have the X-Tag champs. We don't see them a lot anymore these days, together anyway. And Blue Dragon's essentially been questioned by Hangman as to why on earth he went behind Hangman's back. He makes it sound really bad, even though it's not. Why on earth he went to the boss Craig and asked, essentially pleaded, that they get another chance at the belts, you know, that they essentially won't let him down. You know, he's not interested. And then Blue Dragon sort of cuts him off and asks him why not. Like, that's what are you talking about? We're a team. That's what we want to do. We want to get those tag team titles back. We lost them so unfairly to the past masters. It's what's best. We have a chance here. We beat LA Stars tonight. We're back in action. And Blue Dragon is trying to hype up Hangman, but Hangman's just kind of, he doesn't really look interested. He almost looks a little annoyed that he's actually got a number one contender shot, which is a bit odd, but solid rating. I'll take a 51, considering it's the lowest of the show so far. Into another tag match, the return of Smooth and Wolfsbane. They both get really good ratings here. 66 rated match. They get the win by cheating. It's a cheap win, but they get the job done against DeMarcus and Gray, who also get very good ratings. 264s for Logan and Austin. Could we potentially see another rising team as well in terms of pushing into the title scene? We've not really seen a lot of these guys, especially together, obviously with Austin being new and the fact he was on tour in Japan, which by the way has stopped now, so we should see him a bit more going forward. Good win for them. This is a really good match too. 66, very good ratings for them. Austin's really good. I like using him a lot. Same obviously with Logan. Then we move into the first recruit. And it's none other than the Great Lakes champion, backstage architect, with the big menacing Brody by his side. He essentially approaches Tennessee and tells him, he's impressed. He's been watching him, keeping him on his radar in his run with his belt. He calls it because, of course, Architect relinquished his belt to get a chance at the World Heavyweight Championship long ago. He's impressed with what Tennessee's doing with it, and he also sees that for the upcoming Captain's Clash, at the minute anyway, Tennessee doesn't have an opponent to defend his belt, so instead, why don't you come over and join me in absolutely destroying whatever makeshift, stupid, pathetic team Pappas will manages to muster together. And Tennessee, honestly, kind of is almost in his own little bubble. He doesn't really seem to care too much, but he does agree. And says, you know what, sure, I'll join. So we have the third member already for Team Architect, and it's a huge one in Tennessee, who's on huge form right now. 72 rated segment. Really good stuff. This was not scripted as well. So we have Tennessee Williams, the Great Lakes champion, joining Team Architect. Since, of course, he couldn't get his tag team champs to join him, he's managed to get the other champ. Then we have the number one contender match. 70 rated. A superb wrestling match. Decent reaction. LA Stars beat Dragon and Hangman when LA Star 1 pinned Blue Dragon with a Star Destroyer. This was also after a miscommunication between Blue Dragon and Hangman. Mainly Blue Dragon's fault. Which ended up making him get pinned, and they lost the match. Which is a bit of a running theme when these two guys team up recently. It seems to always be Blue Dragon, if you guys haven't noticed, that takes the fall. He takes the loss. And LA Stars now, as it was already deserved, they cement themselves. At Captain's Clash, they will be going up against, essentially getting their rematch against the Past Masters, which will work in their favour more because obviously the Past Masters get so much help from Architect and they get so much help from each other, but Architect will be fighting with Giant Brody and his team. So it'll be interesting to see how the Past Masters do with very little to maybe even no help against the LA Stars. Not even arguably the best team at the minute, by far. Look at these ratings too. 74, 72, 70 rated match. The LA Stars, they're locked in and ready. Then we get a backstage interview. After, of course, Tennessee agreeing to join Architect, in a little breaking news interview, we essentially get Ant-Man announcing he will be joining Papa Swole, not only tonight, as he fights alongside Papa Swole against Architect and Giant Brody, which is coming up next, but he's announced he's joining Papa Swole's team. He's a big fan of Papa Swole, of course. When Ant-Man's joined the company, he answered Papa Swole's open invitation for a match. If anyone wanted to come to the ring and prove themselves, they can do, especially from at that point we had just brought in a bunch of ACPW guys, and Ant-Man answered the call, and Papa Swole gave him a platform to fight and essentially show the fans what he's about, which essentially skyrocketed him into getting a Great Lakes Championship match. He won the Rumble, so he says he's thankful to Papa Swole, and he owes him a lot. So it's the least he can do is to join Team Swole and help him get the win, not only tonight but at Captain's Clash. The match, however, descends into absolute madness. 62 rated is probably fair considering the finish, even though I can already see what you guys see. Decent reaction though. Ant-Man and Papa Swole draw with the Blueprint, Architect, and Giant Brody. When it descended into chaos, Architect, head and shoulders above everyone else, he pulls in a 79, which surely that's the highest rated in-ring performance. It's got to be. We definitely haven't hit 80, and I think maybe like a mid 70 is the highest I've seen. A 79, wow, huge. Giant Brody obviously lagging behind. He's actually good, Giant Brody. He could maybe get up to like a 60, like Ant-Man here. Almost into the 70 for Swole. It's just his popularity's letting him down, but rubbing shoulders and joining the Blueprint will definitely help him get those rating points up. Formidable force here with Ant-Man, of course. He was the man who also eliminated Giant Brody from the Rumble match where they both made their debut. So there's also a lot of animosity there. For Giant Brody, he has a lot to Ant-Man, who of course lifted him right up off the ground and chucked him over the top rope. And obviously we all know the history with Swollen Architect. That does not take any inkling of description. But 62, it maybe could have got better. It seems like we got very harshly criticised for this one, but I guess Giant Brody really brought it down with his 43. So maybe fair. Then the main event, the big one, the number one contender, of course, Davis. This was really just to get rid of Tiger, I'm not going to lie. These guys have fought before, so there was no like meaning. It's basically a filler match, but it's a guaranteed smash hit for our main event. You can always, as you can see, rely on Mr. Consistent, 72 rating, 74 rated match, creative finish, was a success, the number one contender, Davis Wayne Newton, gets the win, keeps the momentum going. That match will be huge, him against Ernest Youngman at Captain Clash. We get a 71 rating, which is just short of the 72, which I believe is our best ever show rating. So having a wide range of angles and only getting penalised on one production is obviously helping us massively. Massive great show, to be honest. Had some good matches in there too. LA Stars came through. The co-main event with the Team Architect and Team Swole probably would have gotten a much better rating if it wasn't for the finish too. But a 71, considering obviously that we have a new focus, so we need to we have a new match focus, an angle focus, so we need to take a good look at it this month and see if it's working. And it seems like based on this, match rating wise, there wasn't too much of a change from what we would usually get with like a good main event and maybe one or two other solid matches. So a 71, I think changing it from regular focus to ensemble match focus was definitely the right move. 100%. We're actually going to do some good stuff here. We're going to give this to, I think actually, you know what, Logan and Austin, I think, should be on this. This is also an excuse for me to try and tell Logan he's awesome to help his morale, because he's still not a very happy chappy. Oh, Architect was pleased, so that means he got a morale boost. That's good. Seemed pleased, that's nothing. And seemed okay, so 1 out of 3, I'll take it. We take almost $8,000 home in profit from 11,000 ticket sales. Also pretty good. We should go up in pop here. Yep, we do. Up to 44. Huge. So yeah, good start. Good start to our first month with our new sort of changes to the production. with no penalties now to our facing heels. That's helping, it seems, with the rating. 71 show rating. Hopefully, we can carry on this momentum for the rest of the month, to be honest, and hopefully pull in high 60s, low 70s for all of our kickoff carnage shows before we get to the big one. Night off, I think. Kickoff carnage 69. Huge. Let's hope we can keep this train rolling with another really good show. We'll do generic, as always. Rest of the world. Oh, we do need. Let's try one of these bad boys. Near certainty. Alright, that's beautiful. And I kind of need a gimmick. We have a bunch, but they run out soon. A character idea wouldn't be a bad idea. Haha, so many ideas. Big gamble. No, no, no. That's not a good idea. Another one? God damn, game, come on. Help me out. A safe bet, okay. Gimmick. Likely? Sure. Right, that's fine. Alright, let's see what's going on today. Freddie's passing on tips on the mic to Lachlan. Okay, that's good. Wilfie and Mutant, we're really getting on well backstage. Okay, good stuff. Papa and Clark both created a fun and relaxed atmosphere, finding a karaoke machine. Okay, doing a little duetting. 9 students now for Architect. He's definitely got his hands full. Alright, that's pretty good. Address the locker room, we shall not. No. I think if we do team bonding, even if Will Spain's just a little bit, let's try it. He's only slightly annoyed now, whichever the lowest level is. I believe it's, let me check here. The lowest morale is irritated. Let's see what it does. Yeah, him and Hangman. So it's still with Freddy and Logan too, yeah. Lots of new ones though, which I guess makes up for it. Anyway, I think we're pretty much ready to rumble. Not too much to go over there. The backstage environment, to be honest, has not really been a headache at all this whole time. There have always been little bits where the likes of Logan or Ernest were really, really annoyed rather than just a little bit irritated, and that can get annoying very quick. But for the most part, we're getting pretty lucky on the backstage when it comes to the morale. Alright, another big show here for Kickoff Carnage 69, so let's get into it. In front of 1100 people again. It's the champ. Kind of a rare appearance, kind of not. We don't necessarily see him wrestle a lot. He pops up every now and then during the week, you know. As he's mentioned before, he's only here for the money and getting hold of those belts. It doesn't start the show off great. A 57 isn't really amazing when I think of Ernest. I'm wondering if, I think honestly his entertainment skills aren't as good as they used to be on the old game. Or he's just, I don't know, I need to maybe try and think of a different way to book him stronger, because as much as his ratings and stuff are going up and his gimmick and stuff's getting better as he's been here, he's really not sort of excelled like I thought he would since coming to the promotion. And I sort of preemptively put the belt on him, assuming he would be reaching the heights I remembered from TEW 2020. And obviously it doesn't always quite work like that. And in my case, that is the case essentially now. He is very good. Like, there's no denying his stats are like the best on the whole roster. But yeah, we'll need to maybe see his next. He is in action tonight. He's fighting someone he's very familiar with, Austin Smooth, in the main event. Austin Smooth obviously recently left PSW, where Ernest and Austin both competed against each other there for years and years. Austin's like a multiple time champion there, just like Ernest, so it's essentially potential old friends clashing at the main event tonight. But he basically just getting himself over. He's talking about how he's facing Davis at the next main event, Captain's Clash. He's not worried. He's very sort of nonchalant, very carefree attitude. He doesn't see anyone here as a threat. He doesn't necessarily care. 57. Into a bit of a filler match to get some guys in action, get off the ring rust. The likes of Mutant and Miller Ford. We team them up, see how they do together. No negative or positive tag team chemistry with them, unfortunately. Good match though. Mutant and Miller with a 57 rated match. They get the win over the Hot Tags and Hot Property. Hot Property, of course, they won last week. And a bit of a rare occurrence from them. Not today though. I don't know why this was elimination. It was just a 3-way tag, but yeah. Mutant and Miller get the wins. Good rating here for Mutant as well. The tags do pretty good. It's a bit. Wolfie's doing way better than Calder here. It's a bit more even with the Hot Property. Miller pulls in a 54, so gets the crowd hotter. Mutant does a really good job too, which is good. So yeah, 57, not much more to say as we move into a bit of a rare promo here from Marco. Only gets a 45, probably to be expected. We're kind of giving him a slow burning build. Not really a build, more of just he's slowly burning. Actually, for being honest, he's just essentially getting him, trying to get himself over more. 45 rating isn't horrible when you think about how over Marco is. I think his pop's in maybe the mid 20s, very, very low 30s. So, I mean, 45 is good for him. And it works in his favour because he also wins his match, which gets a 56. Really good stuff. He gets a 54 rating, which is really good, actually. That's one of his higher ratings, so that's good to know. He's getting better as he moves up in pop. Win over Stevie Stanley, gets the crowd hotter as well. A bit of a slow burner today in terms of getting the crowd hot. Usually by the second segment they're like ready to rumble the crowd, but yeah, there's a lot of the lesser guys are on this card, I would say. So if the rating is as good as last show, I'll be quite surprised. We then got Verbal Slam near back. We haven't seen him in a little bit, or more so, we haven't seen Zippy. We've seen Doc. He's been doing good stuff, and he carries them actually today to a very, you could say, a very much upset win because they defeat Cobra and Jules, who we also haven't seen in a little bit. It's pretty much all the Doc. He gets the pin over Jules Knight with the funky elbow drop. Zippy, of course, being the weak link. It was just more of an excuse to get him in action. Jules and Cobra, though, doing some good stuff. Their pop is slowly dropping at the minute. They've not been getting booked super strong, you could say. But with their excellent chemistry and stuff, it's not really showing in their in-ring performances because they get so many bonuses together. But yeah, good match. 56, I'll take it. And huge win for Verbal Slam. Into Papa Swole, 73 rated segment. He's backstage and he gets approached by Hangman. And there's almost a bit of like an awkward tension, of course, between the two of these guys. They've been kind of butting heads a lot in the last couple of months. And Hangman basically says to him, like, I know you're not happy. You know, you maybe not really wanting to talk to me. But then Papa Soul basically cuts him off and says, look, man, I told you not to intervene at the main event last month and you didn't. That was on me. I didn't want help and you listened after, of course, when you helped me beat Davis to qualify for the match and I told you to back off and you did. So, fair enough. And we all make mistakes. I wanted to just be on good terms. And Hangman's like nodding his head and he says, good. He's like, I'm good. I'm glad, Papa, because I came to you to essentially ask for your forgiveness in a way because I want to help in the Captain's Clash. I know you'll think maybe I'm a bit of a loose cannon, but I got my chance to beat up Architect in that chamber match, which was all I wanted to do. But that was selfish, I shouldn't have been doing that. And I would love to be in the match, me, you, and Ant-Man, if you'll have me. And Papa Swole kind of looks confused and looks at him and says, what do you mean, me, you? He's like, obviously, if you're joining the team, you're joining with Blue Dragon. And Hangman's a bit confused, like, no, me, you, Ant-Man, and we'll get someone else. And he's like, no. He's like, why would you not want your tag team partner, Blue Dragon? And he goes, he kind of like, Hangman pauses. He's a bit sort of reluctant, you could say, and he sort of just nods, like, yeah, okay, yeah, of course, me, you, Blue Dragon, and Ant-Man, which then, of course, confirms it in. Team Papa Swole seems to be complete. The X-Tag champs, Hangman and Blue Dragon, with team captain Papa Swole and Ant-Man, complete team Papa Swole, and then Papa Swole sort of slaps him on the shoulder and says, "You better head down to the ring, um, and be there for Dragon," because of course, a bit of a rare occasion these days, maybe. Good segment, by the way. But next up is actually Blue Dragon in action, singles action for that matter. He actually pulls in a very good rating here, 63 rated match, a 59 for Blue, 59 for Jimmy Chipolata. But unfortunately, it's another loss. Hangman obviously doesn't get involved in terms of cheating or anything. He's just there to support Blue Dragon, but he doesn't after the match. He doesn't necessarily look very happy. Hangman is who I'm talking about. He's at ringside supporting Blue Dragon, but Blue Dragon takes another loss. Flying body press finish for Jimmy Chipolata. Good match here, good win for Jimmy as well. And then after the match, as Blue Dragon is taken back up the ramp by Hangman, Jimmy's just doing like a bit of a generic promo, getting himself over. We're testing the water, seeing where he's at with segment ratings. Of course, this is scripted. 56 rating, similar to Marco's situation. A 56 isn't too bad for Jimmy. It's maybe a little low because he is over. He has like, I want to say mid 40s everywhere in America and Canada. So he's one of those guys that's sort of known throughout the whole, not just the States, but basically everywhere, the whole country, essentially. But 56 isn't horrible, to be honest. Maybe we need to try and test the waters and do more unscripted segments, because we always get a good rating when they're scripted, but it's more of a safe rating, and I feel like we're essentially not able to break the barriers unless we put it on unscripted. Of course, taking that risk that we get penalised for it, but I think it would be worth it, because all we need with the new angle focus is at least one, pretty much, more or less one angle to do really good, which Papa Swole's got into the 70s, so that was huge. Next, we get some more old faces. I haven't seen them in a little bit. Quite a few shows. Minnesota Awesome. The tag team of the year, of course. Got to always plug that in there. 65 rated match. Essentially carrying Grim and Graham to the 65. Decent reaction from the crowd. Good wrestling, obviously. Very, very tough to beat. Minnesota Awesome pick up the win over Grim and Graham. 69 rated from Clark. 64 from Perry. And of course, Grim and Graham, they're on the short list, the dreaded short list at the very bottom on Pop. So no real surprises, but good rating though. Good stuff from Minnesota Awesome. Then the match up next is Papa. He's in action too tonight, just like Blue Dragon. The team captain shows why he is the captain. 72 rated match. We use his creative finish that he came to us with, which is a success. Pulls in a 68 rated against the very experienced Ozzy Goldstein. Pretty solid rating, actually, considering. Papa Swole pulls it to a 72, gets the win, keeps momentum going. He can breathe freely now. You know, he's won tonight. He's also completed his team for the Captain's Clash event. So all eyes now are on Architect, who still needs one more member. He, of course, has himself. He has Giant Brody and the Great Lakes champ, Tennessee Williams, but he needs one more. But then after the match, we then move into the man himself. It's the Architect, and he is backstage with one half of the tag team champ, Sandman, and Sandman's basically going over, you know, what's the plan, essentially. Architect's always got a plan coming up for every main event, every match. And he says, you know, I haven't really saw you much, Architect. What's been going on? What's the plan? I know Giant Brody isn't here tonight. He's touring in Japan. So we need to chat, you know, tonight. Historian's going up against LA Star. One on one. Then of course we need to defend our titles against LA Star. And Architect says, you know, he kind of cuts him off and says, we don't have time like to talk about the tag team champs right now, you know. Team Architect. We're busy right now. We're going far and wide. We're trying to make sure we get the best fourth member possible for our team. We are not losing to Papa Swole and Hangman. It's not happening. There's no way. And Sandman's almost a little shocked. He's like, "What about us? What about us?" He's like, "You're big. You're a big boy. You can figure it out on this occasion." Um, and Sandman almost kind of looks disgusted in a way. But Architect's very much in his own little bubble, as always. Though he's very good at sort of being able to take it all but not give it, essentially. And that looks like on this case what he's doing with Sandman. He of course has Giant Brody in his team, so it's looking very likely that the past masters are going to have no help, as they're so used to having, defending their belts against LA Stars. And they're also going to have no help tonight. 66 rating's pretty good considering Sandman is rated just as equally as Architect in this one. 66 rating backstage. And just like tonight, they also did not have any help in their match. Bit of a shame here, we got the chemistry penalty. Otherwise, this would have done pretty solid because it still hits a 61. Good wrestling, decent reaction, and LA Star 2 beats the Historian with a flying flip neck breaker. Is it almost kind of foreshadowing what might happen at Captain's Clash? Pretty decent ratings though, considering they would have got way higher, obviously. But yeah, they don't click, makes for an awkward bout. But after the match, as always, well, not as always, but as expected, out of pure fit and rage, the tag team champs issue a beatdown to their number one contenders, LA Stars. Gets a 56. We advance the segment of the storyline, basically showing them who's boss, We're the tag team champs for a reason. Pretty decent. Keeps that going forward. Then our main event. Holy shit, what the fuck? Alright, well, after talking so highly about last month's shows and how the LA Stars got an 80 rated match, the best match rating we've ever had, we now hit an 82. 66 rating from Austin, 74 from the champ Ernest. And then about that had superb wrestling and good heat. Ernest Youngman defeats Austin Smooth with the hit. Creative finish was a success. It's almost like before the show when I was kind of criticising Ernest, it feels like he was almost listening to me. And he sort of just he's went out and proved me wrong. So yeah, solid rating actually. I can't really complain. Good match from the former PSW boys. Well, I say former, only Austin's former. Ernest is still there. Really good match though. And then of course we end the show after his win. His celebrations are abruptly put to an end when Davis comes out, and they go face to face, but not in the ring. Ernest is at the top of the ramp and having a bit of an intense showdown. As Ernest is in the ring smiling at him and polishing his belt, which will be a huge match. If Austin Smooth and Ernest are pulling in 82s, then my God, if done properly, Davis and Ernest, they can be shooting for the stars. Of course, again, only penalised on music. We get a 75 show rating. Wow, so last show was on par with the best ever, and this one is. We pull in our best ever match, we get our best ever show rating. So changing our match focus and angle focus, well, more so the match focus has definitely helped. I think putting the matches on not scripted but not called in the ring, they're just unscripted. I think that is definitely the way forward, it seems too. Yeah, we're already seeing really, really good stuff. And we're only 2 shows in to all our little changes. We're actually also going to give this to we'll give it to Austin again, even though we gave him it last week. We're going to give it to Papa for carrying essentially that one, and we're going to give it to Ernest too. We'll give them all a told they're awesome. It seems like you have to really encourage them. I've realised if you give them just like some encouragement, good example, nothing ever happens pretty much. So let's see. Oh, Austin gets a boost. So does Papa, and Ernest doesn't care. Fair enough. Again, we make the exact same in ticket sales. We paid a little bit more, 6,000 to workers. Of course, the shows are much bigger, much more angles as well now with our new angle focus. Still good though. Taking away 8,500 in profit. We actually gain pop in the Great Lakes again, but we don't go up a point. So I wonder if maybe later on in the month we'll actually go up another point. If we go up 2 popularity points again, that would be, yeah, that would be wild. We go up pretty much everywhere else in America though, which is good. So yeah, who would have thought? My favourite number 69, our Kickoff Carnage 69 show, is now going to go down for the time being as our best show yet. So yeah, I can't really complain. That's a really good, because there was so many people we didn't use to. Davis wasn't fighting. We didn't have Logan fighting either. Architect, right? Yeah, Architect I don't think was fighting. Like, wow. So this new match and angle focus is really helping me not have to stress as much about the ratings and can go with the flow, and things still are working out. This is really good. Well, well, well. Look at this. After 31 episodes, it's finally happened with one of our workers getting poached. Obviously, we have most of our guys on exclusive handshake deals, so this won't happen. But one of the very few that aren't on exclusive is Jimmy. So it looks like he's leaving to go to CWA. He of course left USPW, I believe. Yep. And we hired him up a bunch, along with a bunch of others. He also got loaned during the alliance, our new alliance. He got loaned to Australia, which I thought was pretty funny. Um, but yeah, he'll be going. I'm not going to try and argue the fact, I could potentially go in and offer for him. Let me actually have a look. We could go in and try and, yeah, exclusive written 14,000 per month. Like, we're not going to be able to um compete even if we wanted to. And honestly, we weren't really doing anything with Jimmy. He is pretty good considering he's only 25. He is actually really good. He's really good at everything too. He's got great fundamentals. Even his like performance stats are like there or thereabouts. But yeah, we weren't really doing anything with him. We kind of brought him in during a time where a lot of our guys' pops was still rising. A bit like Ernest, to be honest, but the rest of the roster, or our major guys anyway, they've all like caught up now. He is obviously very good across the whole of America, and we aren't quite there yet with some of the guys, just because we haven't been on Wrestle World for long enough. But yeah, Jimmy, I'm not fighting. So unless he, by some miracle, he says no, even though it's being seriously considered, so I don't imagine he won't. I don't think we're paying him 1,000 per show either, so it probably was maybe down to the money is why we didn't offer him a contract. Let me actually see here. Where's contract? I'm sure it's here. It is. What's Jimmy on his handshake deal? Yeah, he gets paid the second highest. So if anything, we're actually saving 800 because we don't really need him. Like he's not going to. It's not like he's going to leave a huge big gaping hole. Pause in our proceedings. Looking at this, actually, apart from him, there's actually no other wrestler that isn't on a written deal. So that's probably why. As much as I was happy to use Jimmy, I don't think I really valued him on a written deal for 800 per show. He gets paid the same amount as the champ, Ernest. And Ernest is slowly coming into his final form, you should say. Or not his final, but his full form. Yeah, he was our best rated match ever. Just on the show there. Yeah. Ernest is someone I would probably fight to keep, but all our guys are tied in on writtens for the foreseeable. The only downside to that is we done it roughly, not with all of them, but huge chunks of them around the same time. So their deals are going to all expire. Like, look at this, their deals are going to all expire so close together. It's going to be madness because in like 2 years' time, we'll definitely be medium and our guys will definitely be way more popular than they are now. So it's going to be a mad Okay, it's going to. I've honestly probably fucked myself over by doing it this way in the long run because we're going to have to dish out way more money when the guys are way more over, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. Alright, let's try our best here to make sure our last Kickoff Carnage show of the month goes well. End with a bang because it's been really good so far this month, giving us good momentum going into Captain's Clash. So if we can do another 70 plus show rating here, we'll be in a very good spot. We don't really need great finishes, but just for the sake of next month, especially thinking ahead, we don't need gimmick ideas. We've got those creative finishes. Yeah, I think it might be all creative finishes tonight, actually. Come on. A big gamble, no. Let's hopefully we get, oh god, maybe 2 out of a possible 5. Okay, there's one. One more. That's good. Likely, yeah, we can use it. We'll maybe use it on a match that's not, well, we only really use it, well, I was going to say I'll use it for a match that's not like a title match, but we only really ever use it on either the main event or when it comes to the end of the month show. We usually use it on the title matches. I mean, we'll keep it. Maybe we'll see. See how that goes. Another likely. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Not horrible. Let's see what's going on. Oh no, nothing today. Oh, never mind. A creative finish idea. Okay, Hudson. I'll take a look. Hopefully it's good, and we'll definitely use it. Oh, an idea for enhancing his character from Aussie. Okay. Hudson also brightened up the backstage locker room. He's on a roll today. Nice. Um, hopefully, maybe if we're lucky, we can get inspired again for next show. But I think it definitely does take longer than. It says here used sparingly on a repetitive audience, it can be very effective. But if used too often or to a locker room that has turned against you, although it doesn't say what would be regarded as being used too often because the cooldown time on it, I think it's maybe like a month and a half or a month. I've definitely not been able to use it on every big event this year, which is obviously every month, the last Thursday of every month. I think we have it set to. Um, so yeah, I'm not really sure. We'll see if it pops up next next week. Fingers crossed. That would be good. Help with the ratings. Right, we're done here. We're ready to book our last Kickoff Carnage show before we jump in to Captain's Clash. Alright, here we go. It's showtime. We're starting off in front of again 1,100 people. Pretty consistent tickets. It did say we were expecting a little bit more though, I believe, so surprised it didn't hit 1,200, but nevertheless, as long as we keep the high show ratings up, our momentum will grow faster, popularity will grow faster. You know, it's just a big snowball, as you guys know. With what's hopefully the lowest rated match of the night, and to be expected, two of our younger guys, more greener guys, we put them in a match here together, get them some time on the show, a tiny bit more experience, and to be honest, it does the job. We're not really expecting anything worldly from these guys at the minute. Bowden, of course, is already actually pretty good in the ring. He's just he's lacking his like psychology and stuff a little bit. Um, but there's definitely a lot of potential. Obviously, the same with Jack. He's got a ton of star quality and stuff, charisma. Um, pretty decent though, to be honest. 44 rated, gets the crowd hotter. Show off to a strong start. It's Bowden Snoop who picks up the win with a Snoop Dogg win by pinfall. I wonder what that would be. A Snoop Dogg. I can only imagine what that would look like. Maybe he rolls him up into a blunt and slams him. Who knows? 10 minutes though. Win by pinfall. Good start. As we then get the Doc, the man himself, making his elaborate, sort of vibrant entrance to the ring, you could say. As always, we can use him in a segment. This is scripted as well, this one. It's a bit of a slightly shortened angle. a 3-minute ring entrance essentially, 64 rating before his match. It's pretty good actually. 64, I'll take it considering what's going on here. And he gets the 148 rated match, gets the crowd hotter, does the job against Jules Knight, and he also does the job, beating Jules Knight by pinfall with, of course, the funky elbow drop. Pretty good stuff here. We're going to start, I think, slow, like a slow burning push, I would say, to the Doc, because I do like him, and through his he got into better shape for me. He was one of the guys who said yes, and I don't know what made it different, because most of the guys who went up in better shape, essentially, they went up maybe 1 or 2 star quality points, but I'm pretty sure Doc went up like 5, and he already had great star quality, so his star quality I think is like 90 now. It's something insane. So and he's like someone who can get better. Even though I'm tracking his progress, he isn't actually getting better. Like I think he's capped at some of his, especially his in ring stats, like his brawling and everything of that nature. But there's definitely a lot of untapped potential. So I am a fan of the Doc. Anyone with good in ring, not in ring performance skills, I'm a big sucker for that. So the Doc's up there. Although I did also hear recently someone in the comments mentioned the Dr. Frankenstein isn't in their game. So if anyone could actually confirm that, I just play on the default database. But yeah, apparently the Doc isn't in. Maybe he is. I don't actually know for sure, but let me guys know if Dr. Frankenstein's in your game, because if he's not, then I have no idea why I have him. But I'm glad, because he's good. He is good. 48 rating, not too shabby. Into a 61 tag match. This does really good. Good wrestling, decent reaction. It's the heels Marco and Hudson defeating Remy and Miller. Hudson Drake pins Remy with a Hudson Hawk. Remy, of course, before the show, he was doing good stuff backstage. Marco and Hudson actually have excellent chemistry. There's another tag team we can add to the ever bulking tag team division. Oh, okay, that's actually an interesting one. Looking at how I picture them both, though, and how we're kind of perceiving them, with Marco being like the son of a legend as well, and Hispanic Heat cheating to win whatever it takes, and then Hudson more of like a self-centered guy. I don't know. I don't think we will team them, but I'll definitely keep this in mind for maybe if we do more random pairings. That'll explain the rating as well here. Marco gets a 55, so does Remy. 52 for Miller. Hudson, the MVP, and Hudson, of course, still benefiting from a hot new move. Good stuff. 61. That's really good, and another excellent chemistry teaming rating we can add to the list. Then we get into, I believe this is not scripted. And it's essentially Team Architect for next week's Captain's Clash is now complete. He adds Austin Smooth to the team, but this angle isn't necessarily him asking. He's not really asking. This was supposed to be backstage, but I think it's actually in the ring. But we'll just pretend it's in the Blueprint HQ, and they're essentially going over the plan. They're like brainstorming, as Architect always does. But Austin Smooth's already there, basically just elaborating to the fact he's already in the team. So he's been like asked off camera or something. That's like the way it's not like Papa Swole's been going up and asking and it's been in the segments. This is more of just Austin Smooth is there and he just seems to be the 4th member. Solid ratings though, 76. Which, as long as, like I said, with our new angle focus, as long as we get one pretty solid, we don't need to worry about the rest. So this is good. Austin doesn't come out of this very good. We kind of fed him to the wolves a little bit in order for Architect to shine, which of course he does with his hot catchphrase and everything else. Yeah, it's fine though. This is good. It's fine that Austin didn't perform because 76, the Architects carried it, but Team Architect is now complete. It will be Architect, the Great Lakes champ Tennessee Williams, Giant Brody, and Austin Smooth. Pretty formidable team. You could also elaborate to the fact he's kind of Austin Smooth's still very new to the promotion. So realistically, Architect pisses everyone off with his cheating ways and everything else over the 3 years he's been here. So Austin Smooth is actually one of the very few people who would realistically say yes to joining him. Because even the heels don't like him, you know? Like they wouldn't want to fucking fight with him. They don't like him. Which makes sense why it would be Austin, who hasn't quite been able to indulge in the full architect experience. But he's basically wishing him luck because Austin Smooth is up against Hangman tonight, one of the members of Team Swole. So he's saying, we got to make sure we go out there and perform to the best we can. But for the moment, you're not fighting next, so sit down, relax, and we're about to watch our man Tennessee in action. As the camera then pans to the TV screen that they're about to watch backstage, because it's one half of each. It's Tennessee Williams against Blue Dragon in a 71 rated match as well, by the way. Blue Dragon gets a 62. Oh, they have great chemistry. Okay. And Tennessee Williams pulls in a 68. And it's a superb wrestling, decent reaction. Tennessee Williams defeats Blue Dragon. It's a cheap one, essentially, but he gets the job done. Blue Dragon shows that even though he's not been having the best of luck, and Hangman's kind of maybe alluding to the fact he's getting a little bit frustrated with the fact whenever they team up they're always losing, but Blue Dragon, as much as he can hang and he's very solid as a single competitor, he's turning into a good, dangerous worker. He's not quite there yet in terms of being able to beat up someone like Tennessee William, who's on the top of his game right now. But good rating, really good rating, really good match, and it looks like it's 1 point at the minute to Team Architect in terms of bragging rights now that the teams are both complete. Good match though, that's done way better than I thought it would. Then we got Tommy Cornell Jr., he's back after his win earlier in the month. He picks up another huge momentum win against Cobra. Submission with a guilt trip. Really good ratings too. Hitting the mid-50s here. Tom Cornell Jr. is getting better at his gimmick, which is also huge. That should be up quite a bit now into the green with his gimmick, which will help a lot with his ratings and stuff too. So good stuff. I can't complain, to be honest. Pretty solid match too. 61. I'll take it. Good win for Tommy. I'm really excited. I'm really glad we've got him. It's going to be hard, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, about all the contracts expiring, because by then our guys will be way more over, and guys like Tommy Cornell Jr. will be in that bracket 100%, because he'll only be 20 when his contract's up, and he'll have pop here, so it's a guarantee that like everyone's going to come in for him. It's going to get crazy when it comes to bidding wars, but he's someone I would keep. He's someone I would love to keep for the whole series. So much potential. But 61 rated and he wins tonight against Cobra. Then we got the main stain, the past masters, the tag champs. We haven't actually seen them compete in about a month, and we also haven't seen Young and Wasted compete in around a month, so it made sense to lump them both together. 71 rated match. In the past masters, it's a cheap one, essentially. It says Taylor Norton was disqualified, but I really don't like these notes. It just kind of randomizes it. It'd be good if they just cheated by, like, I don't know, using a weapon or something, or using the ropes as leverage, distracting something. I should probably just start adding it, to be honest, but it's a cheap one, nonetheless, for the past masters before their huge match next week, defending the belts against LA Stars. Good rating. Taylor Norton is the best guy in the ring. I honestly feel like Young and Wasted, obviously they are still quite young still, but I honestly think if they get pushed hard into the same sort of popularity bracket as Past Masters or as LA Stars, I think they could be, like, probably not on par with LA Stars just now, but they would be up there. Like, our tag division's so healthy right now. Because we even got the likes of Hot Property, as much as they're hot poo poo right now, they've got the potential to be so good. We've got Past Masters who are very consistently now hitting the 60s. We've got Young and Wasted, who still aren't even at the pop I want them to be, roughly. They're pulling in 60s. LA Stars are now pulling in 70s. Minnesota Awesome are pulling in like mid 60s, high 60s. Our tag division's like on fire. Then we got DeMarcus and Gray as well, who are also doing really good. Like, yeah, there's a lot, which is crazy because a lot of the tag teams that we actually have in the division isn't necessarily the ones I was initially looking at firstly. A lot of these guys like DeMarcus and Gray, young and wasted, we only actually ended up signing them. Obviously, they were on my short list, but it's because they were the cheapest and they're arguably the best. Like, I don't want to be taking credit for it because obviously there's no way of knowing they're going to be that good. But you know, I can see the future. I know, guys. I know. But 71, our third 71 match tonight. So this is shaping up good. If we can hit a home run on the main event, then we're definitely getting a 70 plus tonight. Then after their match, so after their cheap win, they're basically getting themselves over, issuing one final warning to LA Stars. That the big difference, the big difference between us and them is we do anything to win. We don't care about being morally correct. We don't give a shit. And if you think you can stroll in just because you've won a couple matches and take the belts off us, you got another thing coming. There's no way it's going to happen. 68 ratings, actually huge considering this was all Sandman with Historian as a background player. 68 is really good. Into a 50, and it's a bit of a rolling the dice here. We have a backstage segment where the camera just cuts to it sprinting, staring at the floor. The cameraman's running. You can hear people shouting and screaming. And when the camera pans up, Blue Dragon he's out backstage. He's been beaten up. He's all bloodied. He's fucked up. He's like holding his arm. It's like he's shouting, "It's broken. My arm's broke. My arm's broke." And no one knows what's going on. Papa Swole and Hangman are there, asking for help. Where's the medic? Where's the medic? What happened? Did anyone see what happened? And some of the staff basically just say it was a huge figured man attacked him, and as we spotted it and shouted, he ran away. The biggest figure person I've ever saw in my life. And Papa Swole and Hangman both look at each other because they know that the only person that could be is Giant Brody, the biggest guy, like the biggest guy on the whole roster. They've obviously done a cheap shot after Blue Dragon. Of course, the man's kick a man while he's down. He already lost tonight, but it looks like Team Architect is up to their no good two ways, and they've issued a statement here. And Craig Prince and stuff comes out, and then the ambulance pops up, and they get Blue Dragon in, and they're sort of Craig Prince is saying, I know you're worried about your friend, but Captain Clash is next week, and as much as I don't want to say anything in case Blue Dragon's fine, but you might want to start, getting a backup fourth member. Otherwise, you'll forfeit the match and you'll just instantly lose. You need to have four, and it's looking very likely Blue Dragon is not going to be here next week. But we'll need to wait until he gets to the hospital. And then, as he's saying all this, and the ambulance is about to roll off, Papa Swole realizes Hangman's walking back into the arena, and he says to him, "Where you going? Where you going? You're not going to go with Blue Dragon to check on him?" And he basically says, I have a match against Austin Smooth. Blue Dragon's already lost tonight. We need to get one up on them. We can't let them go in to next week thinking they have the upper hand over us. There's no way. Then Blue Dragon, kind of in a shocked way, kind of he gets it, but he also doesn't. He's in two minds, so he's like, fine, right, whatever. And Blue Dragon is accompanied by Papa Swole to the hospital, rather than you would assume it would be his regarded best friend Hangman. And then speaking of, he's up next, and it's a good thing he stayed. The best rated match of the night so far, 72. Superb wrestling, good heat. Hangman beats Austin Smooth, getting one up for Team Swole. Beats him with the chokeslam. Storyline has advanced. Gained heat. Creative finish for Hangman, which he came to me with, I'm pretty sure. Or we generated it, I don't remember. Was a success though. Solid ratings too. 65 for Hangman, 66 for Austin Smooth. Really, really good stuff. 72. Now there's actually a little bit more leeway on the main event because it's a little bit of a random filler one with Logan, who we haven't seen in a while, but this one's huge. Right before we go into the big 4v4 next week. But then we have the two main eventers. They're in the ring. They've made their entrance, and they're basically just going back and forth. Logan and Jimmy. Jimmy, of course, we know it's looking very likely he's leaving. He hasn't actually accepted the CWA contract yet, but I don't see why he wouldn't. So, probably in the next month or so, he will be gone. But he's up against the bald man himself, Logan. Let's see what the match does here. I'm a bit curious. Okay, it actually is. We actually get a lot of 70s, the most 70 rated matches in one show ever, for sure. We're actually saved a little bit here. The creative finish was a success, but they also have great chemistry. There's been a lot of positive chemistry notes today on this show. I mean, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. 73 rated match, and it's Logan, as expected, with Jimmy potentially leaving. He gets the win. We're just trying to build Logan up more, keep his momentum strong, and actually get him in action. Good stuff though. 67 rating for Logan. Jimmy pulls in a 62. We're seeing actually quite a lot of improvements, even just on this show. You know, Hangman's hitting the high 60s. Logan's creeping up on the 70s. Ernest is more consistently hitting 70s this month. Like, it's looking good in terms of in-ring performance. I think, honestly, keeping the matches just unscripted, the way we changed it at the start of the month, I think everything's just fell into place this month, to be honest, after changing the settings on our product. You know, heel and face divide isn't enforced, even though it's still issued. That seems to be helping a lot, more than probably we're noticing. In the match and angle focus, giving us the better show ratings. Keeping the matches unscripted is giving us way better consistency on in-ring performance. We end the show on a 73, bringing in a 74, so huge. Again, show benefiting from the wide angles now that I've finally figured it out after about 30 episodes. We're only getting penalised on our music. Show increases in 7 regions, which means we've maxed out then on the Great Lakes, I'm pretty sure. As for performance, we're going to give this to Hangman. He did really good stuff. We're going to give it to... you know what? We're going to give it to Sandman, more so for his the segment he did, and we'll also give it to the Doc, actually. You know what? We'll mix it up here. We'll tell them all they're awesome to try and help with getting a boost on morale. See what happens. Okay, Hangman seemed pleased, so that's just normal. Normal. Dunk was pleased. Okay, so that's good. That's a boost right there. I'll take it. 11,000 again in attendance. Only 5,000 on workers today, so a little lower. We make over 9,500 profit. And let's see the pop. Yeah, so we're maxed out now. So we only went at 1 pop this month, which is fine, of course. I'm not going to complain. We go up a little bit, mostly in Canada. So yeah, good show, good stuff. This is I'm really liking it. I know I keep mentioning it probably every single episode, or every single show this episode, sorry. But yeah, these production changes are feeling just right. I don't think I'll be messing with it next month, if I'm being honest. We'll definitely be keeping it as it is. Ooh, I've had some developments. Not this. Marco's ended his engagement to his partner. You know, R.I.P. on that one. I mean, she's not dead. I hope. I think she might be. Actually, I don't know. But anyway, Jimmy's actually he does have an exclusive written contract, but it's not with CWA, which is quite surprising. It's with PSW. They are medium. They're actually huge. PSW and CZCW are like smashing it in this game. They both went up to medium. They haven't really signed anyone on exclusive written deals though. Not many. But Jimmy was one of the people who was with PSW. He's also with WPL, and of course he's with us, which is now, yeah, his contract. He's leaving. It's official. And when is it? 27 days. Yep, 27 days. He will be gone. He'll be joining PSW for the foreseeable. I wonder I wonder how much they're giving him. It was probably around about this 15,000. There didn't really seem to be any back and forth though, with failed bids or renegotiations. He just accepted it straight up. So yeah, I mean, I can show you here if we delete this. and go into Company Wars. CZCW is 6th in the world. PSW is 8th. TCW have dropped massively all the way to 5th. Arguably, in my mind, CWA have been the best company since the site began. They seem to be the one winning most of the awards. They get, Fights of the Year, Show of the Year, Company of the Year, Wrestler of the Year, a lot of the time. They're smashing it. But yeah, he's opted to go with PSW instead of CWA. Maybe a little surprising, but yeah, we're up to 21. We're on the first screen now, which is quite cool. Hopefully we can catch up. Once we hit medium and maybe even get a broadcaster and stuff, and our pop starts soaring, we'll probably jump. Like, as literally every month goes on, we'll just bunny hop everyone, hopefully, until we push into the top 10. I mean, just taking a look at this, what is their pop? Yeah, so because they're on Wrestle World, I'm sure they've got like pop across the whole of America and probably, yeah, Canada too. So they're in like the mid 40s, high 50s. Yeah, there's a bit of a. It's not very even the whole way around, but they are very popular. And then CZCW will be in the same boat, I'm sure. Yeah, they're in like the 60s though. And then, yeah, it's a bit all over the place with Wrestle World based on the spillover, but yeah, they're doing really good. Wow, yeah. They're going up like. Wait, they're doing the same track progress as we have started doing this year, where we go up 1 point, then 2, then 1, then 2. That's kind of what's happening to us at the minute. So I wonder if we'll go up 2 next month. Yeah, that would be interesting. Hopefully, then that's an even quicker route to hitting a medium size, to be honest. But yeah, Jimmy is now gone. Well, we'll still see him, but he's the first person, which just took until June 2025 to get snapped up by another company. But we're not really, let's be realistic, we're not really that bothered that he's leaving, I don't think. Well, I'm not. Maybe Jimmy Chipolata is one of your guys' favourite all-time wrestlers and you're upset about him going, but if I'm being honest, yeah, I'm not. It's time for the big one. Last show of the month, Captain's Clash, all the belts. Well, Tennessee William, he's not defending his belt because he is on Team Architect, which of course will be going up against Team Swole. We got Ernest against Davis for the World Heavyweight Championship. We got LA Stars trying to snatch the belts from the past masters in the Tag Team Championship clash. How much are we expecting? Oh, okay. That's a nice jump up. I think last month's show, I think it was Belly and the Beast, right? I believe that was 1,900 fans that got it, so we've jumped up a nice couple hundred. We're actually up to strong now with economy and below average on wrestling industry, so these are finally on the rise on a real healthy amount, which is good for us. Finalise the broadcaster here. Booking team meeting. I don't really know what we need. We have a lot of creative finishes we could use. We don't really need any of them. Let's try maybe get some character ideas for momentum and happiness. I think that's a good one. Good idea. Oh, safe bet. That's a good start. Big gamble. No. Oh, I almost said no there. Near certainty. Alright, let's get one more. Come on. Nice. Okay. I'll take it. We do have more points, but I guess gimmick, sure. A near certainty, alright. Sweet. That worked out, to be honest. Papisol was in fine form. Okay, that's a good start. Hopefully we don't get any negatives here. Whoa, that's huge. Freddie is taking Tommy Cornell Jr. under his wing as a protege. Wow. That's really huge, actually. Now, I don't know if you take someone under the wing as a protege, does it matter how good their rating is on certain things? For example, if Freddie passes on tips on the microphone to Tommy, because his microphone skill's only 56, does that affect how quick or how good of an effect it has on Tommy? I don't actually know. Because it seems a bit weird if he's passing on tips to someone who's way better than him on the microphone. You get what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like a rookie footballer becoming the protege for like Cristiano Ronaldo. It doesn't make it's like opposite. Interesting. No, I don't actually know, but this is good. This is really good. I think maybe it will help Tommy improve even faster if he can even improve much more than what he already is. To be honest, and then we get nice. You know what? Perfect. That's a good omen. I think because our creative ideas all went pretty much most for the most part really good. The locker room that was huge with the protege, and if only we could inspire. That would have been huge. That would have been the cherry on the top, but unfortunately not. But let's get into this. 2 title fights and Team Architect against Team Swole, with hopefully some really solid filler matches as well in the show. Going to be a big one. Hopefully we can make this the best rated show we've ever done after having a solid month of kickoff carnage shows. To be honest, it's been huge this month in terms of ratings. So let's end on a bang. Huge show. This time, Captain Clash in front of a sold out 2,300 people. Huge boost. I think, yeah, we're up about 500 on attendance, which is probably a good part of this is to do with the show rating. So let's hope, fingers crossed, we can end on a bang here with our last show of the month after really good kickoff carnage shows this month. We actually have filled out the main show all 2 hours. So we actually do have pre-show matches, which of course I know even if we have really bad rated matches, we can put them on the main show. And it's not really going to affect the rating, and it still gives good exposure to those guys working. But I physically can't put them on. I literally have no space. So we got 3 pre-show filler matches. The first 40 rated, rare win for Zippy actually here against Aid. 2 of the guys are at the bottom of the barrel at the minute, so to be expected, I suppose, with the rating. We need to try and get some more rub on guys like Zippy, get them more experience so they can grow, get better. We got to use them in order for them to essentially improve their game, so that's really just the case here. Not more really to mention on that. Exact same here with Jack. Seemed off his game. He takes the loss. Stevie Stanley with the victory. 45 from Stevie. With a swan dive senton bomb. 41 rating. Pretty similar story. Not really much more to mention on that. Then the last, we got a 3-way tag match. The hot tags take. Do they take the win? I think I actually left this blank. The victor on this this match for the first time ever. Usually I always have a winner, but I wasn't actually too bothered. And it looks like, yep, they've picked Hot Property to get the win. Bowden and Remy got eliminated first, and then the hot tags. Pretty decent match though. Some pretty good ratings here too. 55 from Remy. The tags pull in high 40s. Yeah, pretty decent. Lachlan seemed off his game, so he only gets a 37.45 for Byron. Quite funny that the collective team that did the worst are the ones that got picked to win. But 51 rated segment, there's not really too much more to mention here. The hot tags is another tag team we have, that young guys that we managed to get really cheap, just like Young and Wasted, but that are actually pretty solid. Like, they'll get better too, which is quite exciting to think about, for the fact that the save is all about longevity. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's rattle through this. Captain's Clash, 2 title fights. Team Architect against Team Swole. We're bringing it back, old time's sake. The hatred between those groups is unparalleled, really. And we're starting the show strong here. 81 segment rating. It's essentially Papa Swole comes out to the ring on his own, and he's basically he's essentially at this point pleading if there's anyone in the back who wants to join Team Swole tonight to take on Team Architect, make it be known. Come on out. We have an open space for anyone who wants to prove themselves. Papa Swole's all about giving chances to people. He did it to Ant-Man. That's why Ant-Man's on the team. Anyone's out there wants to join. And then the music hits and he has a smile on his face for a second because he thinks someone's answered, but it's Architect just came out. Essentially, at the top of the ramp, laughing at him and gloating at him. Essentially saying, you know what? If you want, I don't care if you fight with 3 people. Because I know you'll do it because you're that stupid. You don't care about having the upper hand. You don't think. You don't use your brain, Papa Swole. That's why I'm always one step ahead of you. And probably always will be. So huge rated. We also recently had Architect. He got a hot new catchphrase, which of course we're getting the benefits, but huge note here. Papa Swole has also now just invented a new catchphrase. I believe unscripted this is impossible to happen too, so that's another reason to go unscripted, which I'm really glad I did do. Out of the whole roster so far though, when I try and do the angles unscripted, it seems like Papa Swole is the only person to complain. They would rather go unscripted, which is quite a surprise, but huge start to the show. Great rating. Papa Swole invents a new catchphrase, which I think actually puts up. I think it puts their microphone skills up too. It gives it it goes up by 1 or 2 instantly when they get this. Or I swear it used to be a thing. I might need to remember that and try and remember to check. But yeah, Swole actually gets a better rating than Architect. It's essentially the wrong way around. It should be part 1 should be Papa Swole, but I mean we don't care. It doesn't matter. Good rating. So Papa Swole's still on the hunt. He needs a third member to his team. Well, a third teammate, aka a 4th member. Start off decent filler match. These two have good chemistry. Pulling in high to mid 50 ratings here. And it's Kamikaze. We haven't seen him in a little bit. He gets the win over Miller. 57 rated match. Gets the crowd hotter, does its job. There's not really too much more to mention here. Good win for Kamikaze. Into a 52 interview backstage with the Great Lakes champ, who of course isn't defending his belt tonight. He's joining Team Architect. And he's essentially just getting himself over. He's asked about, what he thinks about all the back and forth, if he's confident for tonight, but he's so nonchalant. He's so in his own little, he just doesn't care, essentially. He's just, yeah, whatever. Like, he's a good talker, though, good on the mic. We did put this as pre-taped, which I don't really think has an effect in terms of rating wise, but I think for Tennessee Williams, he's actually one of the better talkers. If we go into creative, he's regarded in the top 5 for the company's microphone rated workers. He's really high, so we might need to try and mess around with him not being scripted and see who he gets. I think he could get much higher than a 52, to be honest, but not bad. Then we got a 57 tag match. It's DeMarcus and Gray back on winning terms against Grim and Graham. 57 rated. Pretty decent. Nate and Tyrone gets pretty solid in the 50s. Grim and Graham, obviously, they're lagging behind just a little bit, but not too shabby. Working up the crowd too here before we get into the big ones. Speaking of, the first of hopefully, as we mean to go on, good filler match. Mutant picks up the win over Aussie with a Tina Turner 64 rated match. He's also benefiting from his hot new move, which honestly I think he's had it for about the whole 3 years. It's always there. But nonetheless, good win for Mutant against a good opponent. It's a good match. Yeah, 64, I'll take it, to be honest. And we also have Mutant cutting out. He's actually good on the mic, Mutant, and we don't really get to see it, so I thought I would put it to work tonight. He cuts a 4-minute promo. I actually think this is not scripted either. I'm pretty sure because he's quite creative, so that's always beneficial to make sure they're not scripted. 71 rating is actually great, like no complaints. Pulls in a good match, gets the win, and gets a really good segment rating in front of our biggest ever crowd, so huge exposure for him. Then we got another tag match with one of the formidable forces. Great wrestling. It's Minnesota Awesome. They beat Cobra and Jules. Clark Smallbone pins Cobra with double flying elbows. Very good ratings. Both get a 66, but Clark seemed off his game, so he would probably have been closer to a 70. But we see Jules and Cobra back in action together. They've been fighting recently more in the singles and losing, to be honest, but yeah, good rating with their excellent chemistry, pulling them over the edge. 54-52, considering the momentum they're on, is actually really good. And then next up, the first title fight of the show, and it's a big one. It's a huge one. It's a 76 rated ladder match. Essentially a rematch. A while back, Past Masters cheated to win in a ladder match against LA Stars, which I believe was when they were defending their titles, but today is a very different situation. I believe it's their first title change this year. It's the LA Stars. They beat the Past Masters in 15:58 when LA Star 2 retrieves the item. We also had LA Star 2 take a stunt bump during the match, and he was also the one who retrieved the suitcase. What a boss. And they win the PWW Tag Team Championship titles. These ratings are huge too. The storyline, I finally remembered to do it. The storyline advances and ends. Our creative finish was a success. Everything went perfect, as it could have been. Mid 60s too for Winks and Testorian. So they really upped their game. LA Stars pulling 74 and 72. And they are our new tag team champs, which I'm excited for. They're going to elevate this tag team division with the belts round their waist, because every match they can turn anyone from poo, from basically dust to gold, essentially. So they'll be it's very, I mean, let's be honest, it's probably going to be their first of many championship reigns if they keep up these kind of performances. So I'm excited to see what kind of matches they can put on, especially when there's quite a few other tag teams we have that are also very good. So yeah, the tag team division, it's in good hands, let's put it that way. Huge win for them. They finally, after getting cheated a couple of times by Past Masters and being so close, it was only ever going to be inevitable that they win the belts. And what's their best rated match of the night so far? Yeah, wow, massive. And then Team Architect and Team Swole. As Team Architect's already in the ring, they've made their entrance. Papa Swole's at the top of the ramp with his three competitors, looking a little lost, and Tommy Cornell Jr. comes to the aid of Papa Swole to help him. And Tommy's actually in a similar situation to Ant-Man, where Tommy's first ever televised match obviously was with PWW, with the Rumble. But then the week after the Rumble on Kickoff Carnage, Papa Swole, just like with Ant-Man, offered kind of an open invitation for anyone who wanted to prove themselves. And Tommy Cornell came out, and Papa Swole gave him the chance to fight him and essentially put him in the spotlight. And Tommy Cornell, basically similar to what Ant-Man said to Papa, he'll never forget that. So if you need help, I'm here, just like Ant-Man is, and just like Hangman is. We're all here to have your back. With Tommy Cornell Jr., right before the match, is replacing Blue Dragon. As obviously Blue Dragon, he is not here. So it's Tommy Cornell Jr., Papa Swole, Hangman, and Ant-Man that makes up the team, which is huge. Another huge opportunity. Tommy Cornell Jr., the young man, steps up. Let's see how the match. I think the match is right. It should be, unless I booked it wrong or mixed it around, it should be right now. Okay, it is 70 rated. You know what? I'll take it before I even look at anything else. 70 rated. Team Architect versus Team Swole. Great wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. Austin Smooth, Tennessee Williams, and the Blueprint defeat Team Swole when the Architect pins Papa Swole. During the match, we also had Hangman turn on Swole. Giant Brody, of course. That's what I was about to say. The reason I'm taking a 70 is because I knew Giant Brody would get a really low rating. And a lot of these guys, I don't know why, because they don't have horrible pop, but Giant Brody, yes, but Tennessee Williams and Tommy Cornell are only regarded as recognizable, so the fans don't really want to see them a lot. So I'm going to get penalized on this show because I'm using them more than what the fans want to see them. But I'm hoping the show rating doesn't get tanked because of it. It might, and it's just what we're going to have to take. I'm not going to be mad about it. It's just it had to happen. Um, but essentially, because I couldn't add it all with the notes, and I don't do this a lot. It's only with the big ones. I'm going to paint the picture for you guys how this one went down. Essentially, it was a huge, like super close matchup between everyone. Whatever two competitors were in the ring at one time, and it's essentially an elimination, which I didn't note it as here. So, for example, Giant Brody's got so much hatred towards Ant-Man because he eliminated him at the Rumble, but then Ant-Man, he's got so much hatred towards Tennessee as Tennessee cheated him out of winning or having a great chance at winning the Great Lakes Championship in their tables match. And you obviously Hangman and Papa Swole, they hate Blueprint as well as Blueprint hates them. There's like so much going on. But one of the main factors of the match is Ant-Man actually pins and eliminates Tennessee Williams, who of course he's a champ, he's the Great Lakes champ, and he's just been pinned by Ant-Man. So Ant-Man eliminates Tennessee. Then we have Papa Swole. He eliminates Austin Smooth, and then using his experience, Architect eliminates Tommy, and Giant Brody eliminates Ant-Man. And then we have Hangman. He ends up he's the one that gets Austin Smooth out. Or is it Papa? I don't remember. But essentially we're down to the last two. It's Hangman and Papa Swole in the ring, and Architect and Giant Brody. It's the only two left. And then basically what happens with 2v2, you know, so much tension, the crowd's hyped, everyone's going like crazy. Oh my god, they're back, they're about to go at it again after months and months. Papa Swole and Architect. And Hangman, out of nowhere, runs off the rope, bounces back, and hits Papa Swole with a big boot. So obviously the stadium absolutely erupts. Papa Swole looks at Giant Brody. Giant Brody looks at Papa Swole. Giant Brody and the Architect look at each other in like complete shock, which is quite rare to see from Architect. He's usually never really expresses that. The crowd's going crazy. Papa Swole's stiff as a board on the floor, and Hangman's just looking over him with like the meanest mugging look on his face. Then he picks him up and hits him with his chokeslam finisher right on the middle of the mat, and then says something to Architect and points to him as if to say, like, you know, there you go. Do you want your what you want to you want to beat Papa Swole? There you go. And he walks out. He just walks out the ring. Big boots him, chokeslams him, walks up the ring and just starts walking up the mat. So Architect is looking at Brody again, and that he's looking up the ring, and then he's looking down the Papa Swole, and he just quickly jumps on the floor and pins him. 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. Team Architect have won. Basically, they've been handed the victory by Hangman, and Hangman's eliminated himself. Basically, he just left. Which means we can now handle the changing him. We're turning him heel and changing his gimmick, and I do both of these in the one go. Yes. The gimmick idea we put on it was a success, and he gets a great, which is really good. That's even better than what he was getting rated at before. He will get penalised losing to comic gimmicks, but we don't care about that. When gets a bonus, okay, to look dominant, perfect. He's still the Hangman, but yeah, we'll see how that develops. You'll find out more about that later, but essentially, Hangman, he was the very first person, I believe, to turn, and he went from heel to face, and now he's back to heel. So it's quite funny. We've only ever done 3 turns in our whole promotion, and 2 of them have been the same person. But I also have a new cool graphic that I've made for Hangman that we'll see. I'll attach it on him for next episode. But yeah, this is huge. Hangman. There has been little factors with him. He seems to be getting annoyed a lot easier, and he seemed very reluctant to team up with Blue Dragon. And then when Blue Dragon got injured, he seemed very reluctant um, to go to the hospital with him after he got attacked by a quote unquote huge hooded figured man. So maybe you can fill in the dots. I'm not going to say it, but you'll find out next episode. But Hangman essentially he betrays his longtime friend Papa Swole and the whole team essentially, gifting the win to Team Architect. Huge. I'm really glad this worked. This actually all worked out perfect. Hangman gets an even better rating than he had as a face. His momentum's up. His gimmick rating's great. The match got a 70, which is huge. I think that's really good. In fact, I didn't actually have a real good chance at looking at the ratings. I think this is about to swap it out. I think Architect got like a 74 though. I was too busy. You guys will have seen it, but I missed it. I'll look at it off camera. So yep, it was success. Oh no, we can still see. Yeah, Papa and Hangman matched each other for in-ring rating. Wow. Austin Smooth was only one behind. Tennessee gets a 61. Where was Ant-Man? 59. Okay. Then Giant Brody with the 41. Yeah, wow. Okay. But we have more. Tennessee. I was about to say Tennessee's kind of low. He was really off his game. But yeah, the main points to take from this, Hangman, of course, turns and loses his team the match. And Ant-Man pins the Great Lakes champion, potentially setting up which would be a rematch between them two, The Crowning Glory Rumble winner could get another shot. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens from this. But very close match right up until the end. And there was almost no saying who was going to win, even though it was down to 2v2. But Hangman definitely changed the tide there as we were moving into our main event after that. Huge, huge shock. They're both in the ring. It's Davis Wayne Newton. Ernest Youngman, the champ, defending his belt. Arguably, in terms of in-ring performance, one of the most consistent we've had the 3 years the company's been alive. He was our first ever Great Lakes champ, our first ever wrestler of the year. Let's see how he shapes up here against the ever-evolving assassin Ernest Youngman. Oh, we're close. Oh no, we got shifted a little bit. I think this could. I see Davis Wayne Newton seemed off his game. The match got the crowd buzzing. Creative finish was a success. Our storyline gained seating advances. Segment rating 80. Oh. Superb wrestling and great heat. Ernest Youngman beats Davis Wayne Newton with the hit. The match was designed so that the wrestlers could go all out and steal the show, and it worked. Ernest makes defense number 5 of the World Heavyweight Champion title. If Davis was not off his game, he would have probably got like a 70, maybe even a 71, I think, which might have tipped this segment rating over the edge, I think. So this is a bit unlucky. 80 is still huge. I'm not going to complain. Let's finish the show though and see. Huge win though, huge match. Ernest again is now starting to put in all-time top 10 matches, which is good. Right, so our show rating definitely took a bit of a hit, I think, with Tommy Cornell Jr. used too much, Giant Brody far too much, because obviously their match was very long. I think it was like a 25-minute match, which is long for what we book anyway. But a 74 is massive. It's another huge rated show. I don't know if we would have gone up much in ratings if it wasn't for these guys being used too much. I don't know, to be honest. But we had some really good matches in here, just like last show too. We're starting to hit more matches on the 70s. And the 81 face-off intro segment essentially meant that none of the other segments that are issued as angles mattered. But some of them actually did really good. We got 2 more 70s. But yeah, guys, there we have it. It's another episode wrapped up, which turned out full of surprises, to be honest. I'm going to give this to the new champs, which of course we do have new tag team champs. Ernest defends his title and Hangman turns heel, turning on Team Swole, gifting the win, which I'm sure we'll find out way more. Or maybe not as time goes on. I do have, like I said, a new render for him. I'm giving him, like, he doesn't really look like how he looks in game. It's not really similar, but it's how I imagine he looks, because he's also regarded as someone who's actually really good looking. Hangman, he has high sex appeal, and it's even in his description. But I wouldn't really say his renders doing him justice. So mine's is a bit more of a menacing sort of feel, but we'll see that next time. Let's see how these do. Seemed pleased. Oh, LA Star 1 was very happy, nice. Finance wise, we take 23,000 in ticket sales, 21,000 overall profit. Obviously, these figures don't matter too much because it'll all come down to our alliance. Hopefully, the other companies are still doing good work with their finances. We'll see. Because obviously, I upgraded all my production at the start of this month, so yeah, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, we're done. The episode's wrapped up. Huge one. New champs. New turns. Great show. Probably the best month we've ever had, which obviously, as we advance, is to be expected. But I'm really glad we're seeing huge developments, to be honest, huge progress. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments any thoughts, what you thought. And I'll see you on the next one.